I was like tripping out.
Really?
Whoa, your lighting just changed. Like really strangely right there.
The angels. They're coming. They heard my call.
That was so weird. I wonder if you'll see it on the watch back. It like went red for a second.
Dude, stop. I'm getting goosebumps.
Okay, maybe I'm just going crazy. I think I saw something, but whatever. I guess we'll watch it back.
I'm getting like goosebumps.
I guess we'll watch it
Cause,
back.
cause you're talking about like, oh, how when we talk about this kind of stuff, it like manifests.
Yeah, you gotta be careful.
I'm really desperate for that paranormal activity. Like I asked to be haunted.
You asked for it?
When I moved into this house, my house is 100 years old. Like I was expecting to see some like apparitions. Is that the word? Apparitions?
I don't
Apparitions.
know, but why would you crave that? Why would you seek that?
I'm afraid of death.
Okay,
And
so why would you
I think seeing something like that kind of solidifies that there's something after death.
Oh, so are you afraid that there's not anything after death?
I don't even like talking about that, but yeah, that
Or
is a very deep concern I have where it's like after you die, it's just nothing.
yeah, but doesn't that
It's
just
very
encourage
overwhelming.
doesn't that just encourage you to like make sure you're living the best life though?
Yeah, but I can also live my best life knowing that I've become a ghost or whatever happens afterwards.
I don't want to return to the earth.
It's a really complicated thought because when you think about it, it's like yeah, there's obviously like you want to rest. You don't want to be like nothing is infinite. Even the sun would eventually burn out. But
Yeah.
just thinking about that for me is just so overwhelming. And I have a lot of thoughts like that. Not anymore, but I remember maybe like a few years ago, I would think about that almost every day for some
About
reason.
what? Like the afterlife?
The afterlife and just how like everything must come to an end. Like eventually the universe is gonna implode on itself. And what's next after that? And just having like that infinite timeline is very overwhelming. Like an existential crisis. I had one of those, I think.
Yeah. It's been a while since I've had one, but I know the feeling.
It might have been like just the pressure from work and whatever was going on in my life. But yeah, so I was just craving that experience to kind of tell myself, hey, there's something after. It's not just pure darkness when you die. It's a very sad thought when you think about it. Just
That there's
dying. I don't think
I
it's
don't
peaceful. I don't think it's peaceful at all. Like some people say, oh, like they're in a better place. It's like, what do you mean? They're missing out on the world. The world is continuing on without you.
so you think that the world is the best place you could imagine your soul to exist?
Well, if it isn't, then I hope there's something afterwards. That's what I'm saying. Like, I want evidence to know that there's something beyond just closing my eyes and getting cremated or whatever and being buried, and then it's just nothing. Like, I'm not going to experience anything. Like, I want to experience something. I
I
don't want to
think
just go out and have my flame just blow out.
right. That makes sense. So I think that like maybe your fear is coming from the fact that you do have doubts that that is all there is, right?
Yeah, of course. I think we all go through that where it's like maybe there is nothing after death. Like, there's no scientific proof right now that anything goes on. Like your consciousness is basically what they're saying is electrical signals in your brain, and
Yeah.
once that goes out, you're not going to be able to feel or even have a consciousness anymore.
Yeah, I
It's
totally
just
understand.
it's a very dark thought.
Yeah. I understand where you're coming from because I've been there before, but I can't relate in the moment.
No. Also, my you know that my grandpa just passed away.
Oh yeah.
So that might be why.
Yeah. So have you um experienced him in any form, or like, maybe seen him in a dream or felt his presence or like
No,
anything like that? No, not at all.
that's just I haven't. So
You kind of hope that you will.
I don't hope that I will. I'm bringing this up because when I was in Calgary, I had a few moments where I have memories of my grandpa when I
Yeah.
was younger, and like even now, where it's like, oh, I'm never gonna be able to tell my grandpa the experiences that I'm going to have or all of that. Like he's never going to be able to experience life again. Like he's just gone. Just think about that. Like anything that happens right now, he's not gonna know.
Yeah.
It's just I don't know. It's just a really depressing thought.
And I
So
know
it's like if I see like maybe he's like some sort of ghostly thing or experience something like that, I think it would just give me more um, comfort.
yeah. I don't know if this is gonna be like an annoying thing to say, because I don't mean to like take away from your experience, especially if like you're not really like feeling him around you or anything, but like from my own perspective lately, I just feel like there's so much like energy around us, and like my grandmother in India passed away like maybe 3 years ago, and I didn't know her that well. I was named after her though, but yeah, I didn't know her that well, but like especially when she passed away, um I felt like she's around me a lot more than before. And it sounds like so crazy, but I think that her main impact in passing away is that like I became so spiritual, like out of nowhere. Like that's like during that month that she passed away, like my mom had gone to India to visit her and stuff, and it was like I had this huge spiritual awakening that was triggered by like a bunch of different things, and like one of the other things that happened was she passed away during that time. So, and yeah, it was like during that time when I just like really started reading into like, spirits and like angels, ancestors, and like I don't know. I feel like I'm guided by something like higher than me. And I feel like that includes like some kind of like ancestors and stuff. So I don't know if that gives you any comfort at all. I hope it does. What do you think?
See, I want to get into the headspace that you're in because I feel like we're both kind of spiritual, or
Yeah.
you're probably more. I don't know if you're more spiritual, but it's like I believe in energy and all that as well. So
Hmm.
so it's just like, do you believe that there's something after death?
Yeah.
You don't have any doubts at all?
I just think that like there's that scientific law that like energy cannot be created or destroyed or something. Like it's only really transmuted. So the way that I see it is that like everything's energy, and I feel like my soul is just like this energetic ball, and like I've always felt like that though. Like even when I was younger, like I thought of things in terms of energy, and I felt like
Right.
when I died, I would just go somewhere else. I don't know where that elsewhere is though, but I do believe in like my energy will like live on somehow, whether that's reincarnation or just like end up in a different planet, like in a different solar system. I don't know. Like I just feel like my energy will like go elsewhere, but my energy will still exist.
Shit. See, it's just like I also believe that, but then it's like I feel like my doubts are stronger than that belief.
Right.
And it's like I don't know if it's because I'm getting older and I'm
Mm,
seeing things at a more grounded level. Because I remember when I was a kid, I had no doubt that spirits or all that type of stuff, like reincarnation or even like heaven and hell and all that stuff exist. But I think like as I get older, that spiritual elements kind of not leaving, but it's definitely tapered down.
yeah, and like I can relate to that too, because I've gone through phases throughout the years where I don't feel a sense of spirituality at all. I don't feel a sense of spirituality at all. So I don't know why certain phases of my life I just feel so spiritually like aligned, and like those stages of my life I'm so thankful for because I feel a lot more peace. So maybe it's just me trying to find a sense of peace. But I do believe it though. It's like the faith is there, whether that's it's not logical at all. I'll admit it. It's not logical, but that's why it's spiritual. It's not logical. You're meant to get out of your logical mind and tap into something different. And I think that that's the problem is that in the world today, like the logical mind is like what people really promote.
That's why I
Because
was. Oh,
sorry,
sorry.
continue.
No, I said that's why I was so happy about the astrology thing because I felt like it was just such an accurate thing for me. So, like, to me, that's kind of like an evidence of, oh, maybe there is something at a higher power that kind of governs all of us. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it totally makes sense, and I like believe in it. So
Like just how the astrology stuff and the placement can affect us all. It's like it's kind of reassuring. Where it's like, hey, maybe there is something out there that kind of dictates how things are, and it's not just we're living this lost life, and once it's over, it's over.
yeah, I live for this kind of conversation though. Like if I could have conversations with this with people every day, I feel like I'd be really happy. Like stuff that's like actually stimulating and I can like learn and grow and like just keep learning, but it doesn't really seem possible. Because I feel like a lot of times people just like don't understand what I'm talking about. So then I just feel alone in my mind, but it's still a nice place to be. I mean, people might look at me and think I'm delusional, but it's like, you know what? I feel like
I
you
think it's
choose.
just like a very it puts you in a very vulnerable place when you mention spirituality. So I think that might be why people don't want to talk about it.
Why is that?
Like you said, people don't want to be seen like they're crazy.
Yeah. And
So
I
it's like
thought,
people don't want to talk about it because they don't want to be perceived as crazy, or even like what I'm talking about now. I feel like I'm exposing a side of my inner self to you, and a lot of people aren't comfortable about doing that.
I feel like people are a lot more open to it now, but it's still out of the ordinary if you talk about it.
Well, Buddhism is like completely out there. I feel
Well,
like Buddhism and Hinduism is kind of related because we also have things about reincarnation.
were you raised Buddhist?
Hmm.
It's
My mom did like the whole stuff, but she didn't really get into it with us.
so like, did you have like certain things that you practiced growing up?
During special days like Chinese New Year, we might go to the temple and all that, but we didn't follow anything that's like strict for a religion. Like
Okay.
it wasn't like, oh, you shouldn't lie or you shouldn't steal. I mean, you shouldn't steal, but it wasn't like we're living our life based on some certain religion. It was very free at our house, surprisingly.
Yeah, at my house too it was, but like my mom and my dad did teach us about like the different like aspects of Hinduism, and a lot of it is just like teaching morals. I think a lot of the root
Yeah,
of a lot of religions is just like be a good person, you know? So you didn't necessarily have like the God talk at home or anything.
no, never. Our parents never. I feel like they were really conserved with that too. Like they didn't really go into like the spiritual stuff. Like they never talked about heaven or hell with us, and they never went to even like with Buddhism about reincarnation. We never got that. I don't even think they believe that. I don't know what they believe in. They're not very spiritual.
Your parents aren't really spiritual.
They're not spiritual, but they still do like the rituals during special days. Like they believe in like superstitions. Oh, like you shouldn't put your chopsticks straight up on your rice.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. For anyone
I'm
who
trying
doesn't
to.
understand what that, if you don't understand what that means, it's like if you put like the two chopsticks on your rice, it kind of represents like what do they call that? Like a tombstone or like something.
Oh, okay.
Or it might even, because in the Chinese culture, you have these incense that you burn to the dead.
Okay.
So it's, I guess it kind of also represents that, where you like you stick them up and it's like you're burning something to the dead. So it's like a bad mojo, and they don't like that.
Right. I'm just trying to like understand your background so that I can see where your sense of curiosity with like the afterlife comes from. And it seems like it's like maybe more of those like superstitions that you were kind of taught a little bit as well.
Well, I've had paranormal experiences when I was a kid. I have like these two very vivid dreams that I remember to this day, and I told you about it. The first one is like kind of stupid, but I just want to talk about it anyways.
It's good for
It's
context.
yeah, it's good for context.
Yeah.
So it was just me in like this Greek Colosseum thing. Everything was made out of marble, and I was like chained to the ground for some reason. And there was like these giant creatures walking around, cyclop looking creatures walking around, and one of them was going to club me with their club. And whenever I had lucid dreams, I would have this failsafe where I would blink really hard and I would open my eyes and I would be back in my bed or wherever I was. So before this giant can hit me with a hammer, I just closed my eyes and I woke up. It was easy as that.
Yeah, it's almost like you're using your physical like senses in order to detach from the dream, right?
It's a really weird experience because when you're dreaming like that, you can also feel the connection to your physical body.
Okay, so
It's
yeah,
like
I understand what you're saying. There's already that awareness to begin with. I just thought that like maybe actually physically, like, because the awareness is in your mind, right? It's like you're in your subconscious dreaming, but your conscious mind is aware that you're dreaming. But in order to get out of the dream, it's like you actually get into your senses and your body, which like brings you totally into your consciousness. Does that make sense?
I think it's just like being aware that I'm still sleeping and that this is a dream where I'm able to have that fail safe. Whereas like if I just close my eye really hard, I would be back in my bed.
Right.
So in the second dream, this was on the fifth floor actually of of the apartment that I lived in.
Right.
I remember I had this dream where I woke up. I didn't wake up, but it was in the dream I woke up. I was in the middle of the living room and I saw like this teddy bear in front of me. And how my house is, in front of that teddy bear was the hallway, like this dark hallway that leads to the front door.
Okay.
So I see this teddy bear, I'm trying to walk towards it. But if you ever try moving in your dream, you realize that it's really distorted and you can't really move freely. It's always like twists and turns. So as I was trying to move towards the teddy bear started moving further away from me, like towards the hallway to the front door. And I'm
Yeah.
trying to get closer and closer to it. For whatever reason, maybe it was like sixth sense, but I felt like something was very strange about that situation. Like even though I was in my own home, it just felt very, I want to say it was like a sinister feeling. So I started panicking, and just like the image of my house was getting darker and darker, and it was all I can really see was the teddy bear. So I knew I had to use my failsafe and get out of that dream. So I did my failsafe and opened my eyes, but I was still in that same spot. So I was still in the dream, so it didn't work. And that's when I really panicked. I did it a few times. I don't know how many times I did it, but when it doesn't work, it's very dreadful in that moment.
Especially since like the suspense and the eeriness was like already building and you could sense that there was like distortion, things were getting darker and the teddy bear was like moving.
It just felt like there was something was like going wrong, and I
Yeah,
had to
you're
get out
like,
of that situation, and I
yeah,
couldn't. But
yeah,
I knew, and that connection where it's like I knew about my physical body being in bed, but I couldn't get back into it. That's the scary part of it.
Right.
So anyway, I did my fail safes a few times, and then I woke up, and I was just like, I was drenched in sweat.
It's the worst feeling when you wake up from like a nightmare like that and you're just like breathing really hard and you're just like, I hate that feeling. I know the feeling.
Yeah, but like, was it a nightmare though, or is it something more sinister?
What do you mean?
So all this dreaming that I had actually kind of started um, on the seventh floor. This is the same apartment, the seventh floor of my apartment.
Have I heard this one? I don't think I have.
You haven't heard this one. This is a new one. So I'm trying to
Oh,
recollect all the memories to give you the full story.
okay.
So it was on the seventh floor that that I kind of remember where it all started, having all these frequent dreams and then becoming aware of those dreams. So, anyways, I spent my early childhood on the seventh floor before moving to the fifth floor, where those two dreams happened that I told
Mhm.
you about.
Yeah.
And from what my mom said, we originally lived on the ninth floor of that same apartment,
Okay.
and then we eventually moved down to the seventh floor.
Right.
Like whenever we moved, it was always just between floors. We didn't really move location. Same apartment.
Why did you guys move around the same apartment? I'm just curious.
Probably money.
Okay.
Like growing up, I wouldn't say we were poor, but there was definitely some struggles there.
It's a story for another day.
Yeah, because the ninth, because we I live on my parents live on the ninth floor now,
Okay.
and the ninth floor is significantly bigger than the seventh floor.
Ah,
So we kind of downsized, which is weird for a family.
yeah.
So, anyways, the seventh floor of that apartment, the energy there was very weird. Like the atmosphere, it was different from all the other floors in that apartment.
So do you remember how old you were when you moved to the seventh floor?
I can't remember.
Okay, but you
It was probably before I started school, but I was really young.
but you remember feeling that the like something was up.
I don't remember moving there. I just remember being there. Like my sister would probably remember moving down there,
Gotcha.
but I just like my first memory was probably from the seventh floor.
That's weird. Okay.
So, anyways, the energy on the seventh floor was just there's definitely something off about that floor because it was the atmosphere just felt a little off,
Right.
and it felt completely different than all the other floors in the same apartment.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember we were talking about negative energy and how negative energy could attract other negative energy
For sure, yeah.
or even like spirits
Mm-hmm.
or it draws in spirit, whatever it is, good spirits, bad spirits. So, what do you think happens when that negative energy is just allowed to sit there and build without having any sort of chance to dissipate?
Oh, that's kind of what you feel like was happening on the floor. It's the vibe you were getting. Ooh, okay. I wonder what initially started it. Who
That's
knows?
why here it is. You've seen The Grudge, right?
Yes. Oh, it's
This
been a
kind of
while
this kind of
though.
this kind of explains it better. Where they said that a cursed spot, like a spot that's like been heavily cursed, or have a lot of a negative event that kind of happened,
Mm-hmm.
would create this atmosphere where it affects everything around it.
Right.
Like I'm not saying the seventh floor was cursed, but I just feel like that was the kind of energy I was feeling from the seventh floor.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not just making this up because anyone who lived in that apartment long enough, like the old Chinese folks, they can even tell you that there's something up with the seventh floor.
Okay.
I mean, the Chinese folks, they're very conservative with their spirituality and all that. Like they wouldn't say it's like, oh yeah, it's straight up haunted or whatever, but they would tell you like it's dangerous
It's dangerous.
in a different way, and I'll get into that.
Okay.
So when we were kids, we go all around the apartment, but the older generation always tells us like, oh, you just watch out, like don't go on the seventh floor because it's full of activities, like, and that is true. The seventh floor for some reason was full of like shady characters. For whatever reason, it was only that floor.
Yeah. Like what kind of shady characters? Like people just maybe not in the best place mentally, or like
There
doing
was a lot of
drugs.
like drug activities,
Okay,
like
gotcha.
people doing drugs, people selling drugs, and
Okay,
like other illegal activities.
okay,
And there was also a lot of I don't know if I can say this, but there was a lot of like prostitute stuffs going on there.
okay.
I'm just gonna call them sex worker because it's easier for me to say.
Yeah, I think that that's the appropriate term these days.
Sex workers.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, and like these weren't the sex workers nowadays, where it's like, oh yeah, more power to you. I'm proud of my job. I'm a sex worker.
Yeah.
Like these were women from who immigrated recently, or maybe however long, from China or Asia or Hong Kong, wherever they're from, and they immigrated here. And it's like they don't have much of a skill set, and they
Yeah.
don't speak. They might not speak English all that well.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of them are kind of forced. I would say they didn't really have a choice because
Yeah.
their option is either washing dishes, because this was back in the day. So it's like washing dishes, serving food, or marrying an older person, and that was also really popular. And for whatever reason, I guess they chose the sex working path.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not like, when I say they didn't have a choice, it's because they needed the money to survive.
I
I mean,
understand the
it's not
energy.
a lot of money being a sex worker, but it's just like another means of income.
Yeah.
So obviously, I feel like that gave out a lot of resentful and negative energy
Yeah.
towards the collection that was already there.
Yeah.
So like this is coupled with the drug activities, the drugs, people who selling drugs, and just even like alcoholics were there. Like there was a lot of like shady things going there. So like a lot of negative energy was being put out into it.
Yeah. I get what you're going for.
And I'm not saying like they were the main cause of what turned the seventh floor to what it is, but it was just like that whole negative energy talk we had, where negative energy attracts something similar. So like, were they attracted to that? Because like, why is it the seventh floor the only floor that have those shady activities going on? Like literally none of the other floors are like that.
Yeah, like it's not like those people would previously know what kind of activity was going on before they got their apartment, right? But for some reason, it's like, oh yeah, an apartment opens up on level 7, right? And it's like maybe
Yeah.
somebody who's in one of those life situations. I understand what you're saying.
So I just felt like that all that other stuff that I told you about kind of added into that ball of negativity from that floor.
There was a certain
Whatever,
vibe going on the 7th floor.
it's just whatever the initial cause of that, I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
So anyways, when we moved down to the seventh floor, I think we were in unit 701, 702, or 703. I'm not sure, but I think my sister will definitely remember
If I had to
which
take a
floor we were
guess,
at.
if I had to take a guess based on numerology, I'm like maybe it's 701 because it's.
That's why I said my first one, because it's.
We can get into that another day, but continue your story.
So yeah, I'm saying like my my sister will probably remember better because she was older, and
Yeah, sure.
she can also vouch for some of the experience I had there,
Mm,
because she also experienced similar things,
weird.
like similar encounters.
Okay, you gotta tell me. You're like building the anticipation.
I just want to give you like I just want to give you like a layout of the unit, because it's so important. Because the seventh floor was a really small unit and it's only one bedroom.
Yeah, I'm really bad with like direction stuff, but I will do my best to use my imagination to understand the
Okay.
layout.
So it's a really small unit and it's only
Yeah,
one bedroom. But the bedroom was like a little bigger. So all of us, like me, my sister, my mom and dad, were all in that one bedroom.
yeah.
So the bedroom is like a rectangle or a square,
Mm,
and the front door would be like to the bottom right.
Okay.
So if this was a square or
Right.
rectangle, the front door would be here.
Okay.
And my bed is up against this wall. So I'm facing the front door.
Okay.
And across from the front door is the window that looks out to the street because I'm living in an apartment.
Yeah.
And my sister's bed is up against that. So like me and her kind of made like a 90-degree angle.
Okay.
And my parents' bed is just right across from me.
Okay.
Like on the pushback. Like they have a bigger bed.
Yeah.
So if you were to come into the front door of the bedroom, you would see my sister's bed. You look right, that would be my parents' bed. And you kind of make a little slight left, and that would be my bed. So I'm like basically facing the door. So one night, I remember waking up. I don't know what the time was, but I remember just waking up and staring at the ceiling for a while and just like turning around, just trying to get back to sleep, but I couldn't. And everyone else is asleep. And before I tell the story, there's might be some people who are like, oh, like you could have been dreaming.
Oh yeah.
Or you could have just been like having one of your nightmares or whatever. But it's like, no, because whenever I dream, I would realize I was dreaming.
Yeah.
And this is definitely not a dream. Like I remember for a fact that it happened. And my sister can vouch for it too. Because she remembers it happening to her too.
Haters will say it's fake.
So anyways, everyone was asleep and the whole house was just quiet. And all you can really hear is just the cars outside the apartment that occasionally goes through and the different building lights from downtown that shine through our window. So the whole house was dark. And then this happened a few times. Our bathroom sink, it would just turn on like shh, and it turns off. And it would turn on again. And then it would turn off. And I want to say this happens 1 to 3 times. And then after that happens, the toilet flushes. And then it flushes again. So that happens once or twice. So there's always like a pattern to it. It would be the sink, and then the toilet would flush. And after that, it would be completely silent. So it's not like somebody was in the washroom. Like it's not my parents, because if I see I turn around, I see them. Yeah. And it's not my sister because she's in the room. And if she was in the washroom, I would hear her coming back into the room because I'm facing the door.
Yeah.
But after the toilet flushes, there would all be silence.
Right.
And that's just like what I remember up to that point. But I remember one night, I woke up in the middle of the night to go to the washroom. So, you know, when you wake up, like you have like sleep in your eyes. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, not really. I'm just like, and I'm walking to the washroom.
Yeah.
And then just like, I think in the corner, I see like this greenish glow in like the toilet bowl. It sounds really weird, but I just see it there. And then when I really focused on it, it dissipated. Like it just left. And that was another experience I had.
It's weird. But like, and your sister like recalls hearing the same thing?
Yeah. She remembers that because me and her talk about it.
And like, there's no way you would have heard it from like another apartment.
No, because it was a really small unit.
Yeah.
So like, I'm making it sound big, but like literally, if I walk up the door, I would see the bathroom.
Yeah. And it's always in the same pattern.
The sink would turn on, turn off 1 to 3 times, and then the toilet would flush 1 to 2 times. And then there'll be silence.
But like, did you feel scared when that happened?
I think as a kid, I didn't really know what that was. But I do remember me and my sister telling our parents that there was something up. Yeah, and my parents, they were always like dismiss us. They were like, oh, just like stop saying that nonsense or whatever like that. And it was just the end of that. And eventually we moved to the 5th floor where I had those 2 dreams.
Oh, okay.
And this is where I think the connection happens. So when I moved to the 5th floor, those frequent dreams I have and lucid dreaming kind of tapers off.
Mm-hmm.
And it might have because I was getting older, or I moved away from that environment. But let's just say it's because I moved away.
Okay.
Anyways, the first dream doesn't really matter. But I think they dreamed the teddy bear. I truly believe that it was something trying to lure me back into that space. So you know how I said the teddy bear was moving further and further away from me, like towards the door?
Yeah.
So I felt like it was just like whatever it was trying to lure me back into that space of the seventh floor. Like they couldn't get me like physically because I already moved away, but maybe they were trying to get my mental state or whatever. No, but like even to this day, when we moved away from the seventh floor, because my whole family lives on that in that apartment. Like my grandparents lived on the ninth floor before, and my uncle lived on the. Pardon?
Sorry, continue.
No, I said like my grandparents lived on the ninth floor. My uncle and my aunt and my cousins lived on the eighth floor, and we lived on the fifth floor. So I always like visit them using the elevator and all that. And whenever, even like whenever I take the elevator, I would like pray that it doesn't stop on the seventh floor. Like I'm just like, please, like whenever you see the numbers going like 5, 6, 7, I'm just like, oh my goodness, please don't stop on this floor. And then whenever the elevator breaks, like it breaks frequently because it's an old apartment.
Yeah.
Like whenever I'm walking by to go up to my grandpa's house or my uncle's house, and I see like I know that the seventh floor is coming up on the staircase, I would like walk a little quicker. It's like I don't know why. Like even when I'm older, like maybe I won't do it now, but if I see the seventh floor, I'd be like, ah, yeah.
Oh.
It's just like so ingrained in my head.
Yeah, especially if like the characters in the apartment were telling you, yeah, stay away from the floor and all that, right? It was like really built into you to like avoid the seventh floor.
Yeah, and then we I swear to God, like me and my sister felt the energy difference there on the seventh floor. Like she would be able to tell you. And I feel like
I want to like go to the apartment and like walk around the seventh floor. I wonder if it's still the same.
we can definitely go there when I'm back in Calgary.
Yeah, let's go. Let's go walk around the seventh floor.
You tell me if you feel anything.
Okay, I will.
But I feel like because me and my sister, we were basically born and raised in that apartment. Like we were conceived in that apartment.
Yeah.
And like we grew up there. So I just felt like our connection to that building is so strong.
Yeah.
Where any change in vibe we would notice.
Yeah. You lived there your entire life, hey?
Yeah, we never moved anywhere. It was smack in Chinatown.
Yeah. I think I've only been there like maybe twice. And then
Yeah, that's when I already moved though.
Pick you up and drop you off and stuff. Interesting. We gotta walk around the seventh floor.
No, I was saying like I would be down to do a Ouija board right now. Not right now, but in currently.
But like what would you do and like why would you want to do that?
Because remember I was telling you earlier that I wanted confirmation of the afterlife.
Yeah, but let me tell you something. From what I know about those boards, from what I've heard, who knows what's real anymore? I don't know. But my truth is like somebody's gonna pretend to be your grandpa. Like some weird demonic spirit is gonna pretend, and you're gonna be like, Grandpa, and it's like
no, I don't want to talk. I don't want to talk to my grandpa. I just want to feel something.
If you want to feel something, jump into the ocean.
I want to feel something paranormal. I know what you're talking about. Like there is a side of me who is like, don't freaking do this. Like, don't be stupid.
I'm not into that. No.
You used to be though.
I think I was curious about it, but as I've gotten older, like I know for sure I'm not dabbling in that side of spirituality. I'm not interested in the dark arts. But you have your placements in your chart. I can see
my astrology chart.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just like this desperation of wanting to know. I'm not gonna do it. Don't.
You better not.
I'm not gonna do it.
Don't
I'm
do
too much.
it.
I'm too much of a wuss. I feel like if I were to do it, I would end up just gone. Like something would get me.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, like think about it this way. You're so concerned that there isn't an afterlife.
I know it's just like a
Well,
contradiction. It's
then
messed
you're
up.
gonna ruin your life now.
No, it means like I'm so. It's like I'm wondering. I'm doubting if there's an afterlife, but then I'm also worried about demons.
Well,
It's
all
so
I'm saying
stupid.
is, like, what if you do something like that, and like, let's say that they are real and you can contact something, and then it just like takes over your body like it does in the
I
movie,
just show up like bald.
and then your entire life is ruined, and you're also gonna end up dying someday, whenever that day is. So it's like, not only is there no afterlife, but you've also ruined your life. Is that what you want? Like my thing is like, okay, maybe there isn't an afterlife. Like, let's make the best out of this one. I do think that there's an afterlife though, but in case there's not,
Because
you
I don't
got
know.
it. You better work, bitch.
I don't know if you remember this, but remember how I mentioned that I almost used that demon book to try to better my life? Or I didn't try to, but I wanted to. I was tempted to.
Do you still have that?
Yeah, it's at my parents' place. It's at my parents' place.
I'm about to knock you out with this crystal.
No, because I was tempted to use the rituals in that book to maybe better my life. I'm not kidding. Like that thought did go into my mind. Like that's how desperate I was because I was at this point because I'm just broke, dude. Like I have no money, and I remember reading something in that book where it's like there was like a certain demon that was in charge of gathering wealth, and if you if you invoke him, he'll help you find treasure.
And you trust that.
I do and I don't. It's like I believe it might help, but at what cost?
See, for me, if I'm being entirely honest, I think a part of me does believe that those things exist, right? I've never seen it. I've never attempted to do anything like that. But my thing is, and I've heard like somebody talk about this. There's like this shaman that I've listened to, and he says that if you attempt anything like that, it comes back to you 3 times. You get 3 times bad
That's what
karma on you.
that's
So
what I
maybe
was saying.
maybe your bank account will go up, right? You'll see
Yeah,
that.
but at
You'll
what
get to enjoy
cost?
your life for a year. Oh my god, it's working. Then what happens next? What's gonna happen next? All of a sudden, you're gonna lose it all, and then you're gonna lose more and more and more.
I believe that part. That's why I didn't do it.
I don't mess with it. No.
I didn't mess with it either. I was just tempted. Like I wasn't tempted. Like that thought ran through my mind for a good 2 seconds.
That's fair. Yeah.
Cause your boy needs money.
Yeah. I've never been necessarily tempted to do anything like that, to be honest. But I have heard that if you do, not good. Not Gucci. Bad karma.
And for anyone who's wondering, that book is available on Amazon.
Well,
It's called the Lesser Key of Solomon.
don't shout it out.
Why?
Why would you promote that?
Because some people might want to have an interesting read. It doesn't just talk about demons. It talks about angels too and how you can
Really?
summon them. Yeah.
I still don't believe that those are angels in that book. I've seen that book.
No, it talks about like Gabriel and all that, like Michael, and
Does
the
it?
different and like the Zeraphs or whatever you call them.
It talks about Archangel Michael?
Yeah, it talks about like how you can do certain things. I read more about the demon side, so I actually don't know much about the angel side.
You should
But
read
all
about
this,
the evil side.
I don't have the book with me, but I'll read it. I can read it online, but I was more interested in the demon part. The angels never helped me. Remember that? Remember that one time that I was telling you I really wanted to win the lottery?
Yeah, but okay, here's my other thing. Here's my other idea, right? Maybe you're exactly where you need to be for a reason that you don't understand. Maybe you should appreciate where you are. Even
I
if you
am
don't have the
appreciate.
money
I
right
am. I
now,
do appreciate it.
when you don't have that money, okay, maybe you're put in that position because you're meant to be put on a path where you got to figure it out and it's going to help you become better. So, like, let's just be thankful for the shitstorm that is life.
I am thankful.
Yeah, that's what I've learned on this path.
But I'm just saying, like that one time I really wanted to win the lottery. Like I messaged you and Sarah, and
You're
I'm
like,
like,
what's
tonight's the night.
going
Tonight's the night I'm gonna win.
night
And
to night? I can feel it. My
and
guts.
I swear to you, before the drawing, like the night's coming out for the drawing, I was praying. I was praying to like Jesus. I was praying to God. I was like, if you let me win, I would be a devoted Christian. Like I know this isn't how it works, but that's how like that's how desperate I got. I was like, if you let me win this $70 million lottery, I would be a devoted Christian. I would go to church every Sunday. Like $70 million, man, to God, that's nothing. But you'll get a very, very dedicated disciple.
I've
Good
never,
deal.
I don't think I've ever had an interaction with the ether like that.
I mean, I'm telling you about like all the stuff I want to do, like Ouija board and all that. But at the end of the day, like I'm not gonna do it. So I understand what you're talking about. It's like I have mental blocks too.
It's not the same, but
Like it's like, oh yeah, I'm asking to be haunted, but it's like if that really happens, that's the last thing I need, to be broke and haunted. It's like at least if I'm summoning demons, I maybe get the money for a few years. But now it's like I have no money and a freaking ghost is haunting my life.
yeah, you're gonna be broke, haunted, and you're still on your path towards like
Oh my god.
potential the end of
The end
all,
of time.
the end, the end of your everything. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like when I pass, I'll just be one with the ether. I kind of want to like not going dark, but like I kind of look
No.
forward to the day that I can return to the cosmic
No,
mother.
don't say that. I don't like that. I hate talks like that
I
too.
don't
For
mean it
some
in a dark way. Like when my time comes in its
no.
natural progression,
I
when I am
okay.
110 years old. Um, yeah, and I think as you get older, you won't necessarily be scared anymore. Because I remember when my grandpa passed away, I was like wondering if he was afraid. And I wasn't really able to ask him because as he got older, his mental state kind of like fading. He was like
Right.
going through like some health problems and he wasn't necessarily fully there for like years before. And so I don't really feel like he was afraid. I feel like when that time comes, like you won't be afraid anymore. So maybe you can rest knowing that. You're not supposed to think about it right now, but when the time comes, you won't care anymore. You'll be prepared and you'll be like, cool.
I don't want to think about it. It just happens.
Here's another saying for you. I remember like watching a John Lennon interview, I believe it was, and he said that he's not afraid of death because it's kind of like getting out of one car and going into the next car.
Yeah, but that's just stuff people say to make you feel better. I don't believe any of that mumbo jumbo.
I do. I believe a
It's
lot
like,
of
oh
people.
he's in a better place now. Like I don't want to make fun of that because some people do believe in that. But I don't know. I just need proof, man. Like I wish that green glow that I saw in the toilet would have just freaking got up and got me. Then at least I would know.
So in a weird way, you also want to return to the cosmic mother, whether it's the green glow of a toilet bowl or the ether.
No, it's like why? It's like why is the paranormal stuff that I experience? It's just like so. It's like oh, the sink turning in the toilet. It's like, dude, show me something. Mess me up. No, I'm just kidding. Don't mess me up.
You better
I
be
take that back. I
careful.
don't want to mess up. All my light starts changing.
No, 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 no. You should just get into astrology, then you can see that there's something.
I am into astrology. That's why I said I find it so interesting because it makes me feel like there's the cosmos out there, just like guidance.
I've seen it. I've seen it. Should I tell the story about the eclipse?
Tell it. I like the story.
Yeah, I like it. Um, okay. So Ned and I share a friend, and she started seeing this boy. I feel like I'm like telling it in like a weird way now or something.
No, let's just say like the eclipse. You told me that the eclipse was bad energy because the moon is demonic. We're not going to get into that, but you told me the moon was demonic. I've always thought the moon was good energy, but now the moon is demonic, especially during the eclipse.
It's not necessarily demonic, okay? Okay. It's not necessarily demonic. It's just a very like intense energy that happens around eclipse season is what is known in the astrology community. Lots of changes can happen.
Okay.
Anyways, our friend has started seeing this guy, and the way that I am when somebody enters the vicinity of my life, I ask immediately for like their
Give me your
permission.
astro.
What's that?
Give me your astro.
Yeah, like I ask for their birth chart details, and like people look at me like I'm crazy, and I don't really care because I'm just having way too much fun with it, and I'm like, whatever, I'm gonna ask. I don't really have shame over it. Anyways, so Sarah's like, what the heck? Okay, and like he finally gave us his birth details. I look at his chart and I see his moon placement is happening like really close to like a certain alignment that's happening with these eclipses, right? And he also has like a very, very challenging moon placement, like the most challenging one in the whole astrology thing. So I kind of told her, I'm like, so like there's something happening this weekend and you might want to like be on the lookout, right? Like I told her, I'm like, basically he's gonna like he might go a little crazy.
No, because I was there too.
You
Like
heard me.
when you told her.
Heard me predict it, right?
Yeah, you said that there's
Yeah.
going to be some unusual thing, and I've said like, oh, unusual. That's just it can be anything. Super vague.
Yeah, but were you there when I was talking to her on the phone? Like when she joined our conversation? Because I told her specifically to look out for the
Okay,
boy.
then you must have told her something else afterwards too. But I remember you telling her to look out for her boyfriend because he might act a little wonky on the weekend.
You heard that.
I heard that part.
Yeah, so basically that's what I had been telling her, whatever. Um anyways, the day goes on, we're like I don't think that she was like taking it very seriously, right? But anyways, of course the eclipse happens and she messages me after the eclipse and she told me that like my prediction was true and that like her little boyfriend kind of like had a situation. Um
Situation.
basically basically he assaulted his dad and then he told her that like he had no idea what came over him like and it wasn't like him or something. So I feel like that was the eclipse energy because I predicted it. So and afterwards I told Ned and then once I told Ned that he had heard the original prediction.
Yeah.
I feel like that's kind of like when you started
I was a
believing.
believer. I
He was like,
believed it.
yeah, after that he was like, okay, maybe I'll give this more consideration. He finally gave me his birth time because he never gave me his birth time before.
No, I gave you my birth time, but it was incorrect because I thought it was. I always thought it was. I don't
Yeah,
want to say it on. I don't want to say it on here, but I gave you the wrong one.
he gave me the wrong birth time and he like finally actually checked. So I could tell that your inspiration and your curiosity like really peaked after that because you witnessed it in real time that I saw something that was going to happen.
Yeah, and I was like, screw it. What have I got to lose?
Yeah, and then it's been like it's actually been so nice that you're like so interested in it because I feel like I never have anybody to talk to about it. So to actually have a friend in my life to actually be inspired and like curious is like it's so nice because it like I really feel like I'm speaking a different language to the people around me. Like I'm lucky because with my background, like my mom comes from like the background like in India, they really do promote and believe in astrology as well. It's a different kind of astrology. So I'm lucky that I can talk to my mom and now I can talk to Ned too.
Yeah, and I want to hear like all the eclipse cycle or planetary cycles going on, because it's like even if you don't believe in it, just like hearing something like, oh, today is a good day to do this. It's
Yeah.
like a, what do you call it? What do you call that? Where it's like placebo,
Yeah.
where it's kind of like, oh, today is a good day to do it, so I will succeed because the planets all align for me. So it's like a little extra confident boost.
Yeah, and like now that I have your details, like I'll keep a lookout for you and if whenever I see something positive, like I'm going to give you that little like, you
Give me
know.
that,
Yeah,
Miss
and
Cleo.
it's also really good practice for me because it's like it's really it's like a study, you know. They've been studying it for years. Like it's ancient knowledge. So if I have people that are interested and people that like I can check out their charts and like it's like I'm becoming a little mini astrologer to my friends and to the people in my life that are interested, and so I get more practice that way.
Yeah, and I'm generally interested, so
God bless.